Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever felt like your life is running on autopilot? You wake up, you go through the motions. You do the same routine. And before you know it, another day is gone. Then the next day comes. And it looks exactly the same. Same alarm. Same mirror. Same coffee. Same job. Same conversations. Same couch. Same phone scrolling. Day after day. And somewhere deep down, a quiet thought starts forming in your mind. Is this really all there is? If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. What you may actually be experiencing is something millions of people silently struggle with. You're stuck in a rut. Most people think a rut has to look dramatic. But that's not true. A rut usually looks normal from the outside. You're still working, still paying bills, still going through life, but internally, something feels off. It feels like your life has stopped moving forward. You're existing, but you're not growing. And ruts show up in different areas of life. Some people fall into physical ruts. They stop taking care of their health. They live constantly exhausted. Their schedules become chaotic. Sleep suffers. Energy drops. Motivation fades. Others fall into emotional ruts. Anxiety becomes a daily battle. Discouragement shows up constantly. Some people carry anger or resentment that slowly eats away at their peace. Others struggle with fear or stress that never seems to go away. Then there are relationship ruts. Marriages start feeling distant. Friendships stay shallow. Families struggle to connect. And sometimes people live in the same house, yet feel completely alone. But one of the deepest ruts people experience is spiritual. You still believe in God, but you feel disconnected. Prayer becomes rare. Faith becomes routine instead of a relationship. And the passion you once had begins to fade. The scary part about a rut is this: you rarely notice when it begins. It happens slowly. Life gets busy. Priorities shift. Your focus changes. And little by little, progress stops. Then suddenly years pass. And one day you look at your life and think, how did I end up here? Well, here's something important to understand. It takes almost no effort to fall into a rut. But it takes intentional effort to climb out of one. The first step is awareness. You have to be honest enough to look at your life and say, something isn't working. Maybe you keep repeating the same habits. Maybe you keep surrounding yourself with the same negative influences. Maybe you keep making decisions that lead to the same painful outcomes. Each time the cycle repeats, the rut gets deeper. But here's the good news. The moment you recognize the pattern, you gain the power to change it. Here's a hard truth many people avoid. If your life is going to change, you cannot wait for someone else to change it for you. You cannot wait for someone else to motivate you. You cannot wait for someone else to rescue you. Real change begins the moment you take responsibility for your life. Now, that doesn't mean everything that happened to you was your fault. People hurt us. Circumstances can be unfair. Life can bring pain we didn't deserve. But blaming others will never move your life forward. Blame explains where you are, but responsibility determines where you go next. At some point, every person must make a decision. A decision to stop letting yesterday control tomorrow. A decision to move forward. Sometimes many people fall into a spiritual rut without realizing it. They still believe. But God slowly moves further down the priority list. Work becomes first. Stress becomes first. Distractions become first. Entertainment becomes first. And when God slowly moves out of the center, something else takes his place. Not because you rejected him, but because life became crowded. Over time, the connection weakens. Prayer becomes occasional. Reflection becomes rare. And eventually people start saying things like, I just don't feel close to God anymore. But here's something powerful to remember. God never moved away. We simply stopped moving toward him. And the beautiful truth is this: no matter how far someone feels they've drifted, returning to God is always just one step away. Most transformation begins in one place: your mind. Your thoughts shape your perspective. And your perspective shapes your direction. If your thinking stays trapped in negativity, your life often follows the same path. But when your thinking begins to change, your life can begin to change too. Every single day presents two realities: burdens and blessings. Both exist at the same time. But whichever one you focus on most will shape your outlook. And your outlook will influence your future. This is why faith requires a decision. Not just a feeling. A decision. A decision to believe that change is possible even when circumstances say otherwise. One of the biggest reasons people stay stuck is simple. They're waiting for the right moment, waiting for the right circumstances, waiting until life becomes easier. But here's the truth. The perfect moment almost never comes. Life will always have challenges. Schedules will always be busy. Circumstances will never be perfectly aligned. If you wait for perfect conditions, you may wait forever. Real change begins when someone decides to move forward anyway. Sometimes the most powerful decision a person can make is simply saying, "Today is the day I start again." Not next year. Not next month. Today. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the first step, because momentum begins with movement. And movement begins with a decision. Many people hesitate because they ask one question. What if nothing changes? But here's another question you should ask. What if it does? What if the moment you decide to move forward is the moment your life begins shifting in a new direction? Every day people break habits they thought were permanent. Every day broken relationships begin healing. Every day people rediscover hope after years of discouragement. Change is possible, and it often begins with one small step. So let me ask you one final question. What rut are you stuck in right now? Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's discouragement. Maybe it's a habit you can't seem to break. Maybe it's a life that simply feels directionless. Whatever it is, freedom begins with a decision. A decision to stop accepting the same cycle. A decision to move forward. And a decision to believe that your life can still change. Because the moment you decide that staying stuck is no longer acceptable, that is the moment your breakthrough can begin. If this message resonated with you, comment one word below, forward. Because sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply decide to keep moving forward. And if this message helped you today, consider subscribing. There's a lot more ahead on this journey.